Welcome back, everyone, to the Overwatch League Midseason Madness. It truly is madness out here. Atlanta Reign, if you are just tuning in, this is a spoiler stream, but they have slain both APAC's top favorites of the Seoul Dynasty and the Shanghai Dragons. But APAC's last hope remain in this next match is the Hangzhou Spark going up against the Philadelphia Fusion for an elimination and for top 4.
Yes, Lemon, the Shanghai Dragons have been sent to the graveyard and ain't no monster reborn going to be bringing them back. Alas, we shall have to say goodbye to yet another APAC team, and it cannot be avoided. It's APAC versus APAC down here in the APAC bracket, also known as the lower bracket. And moving into this, we need to just get on and talk about these players, because while everyone's in the lower bracket, everyone here deserves to be in the tournament. Let's bring up those Philly starters so I can tell you all about my boy Belos Ria. It's not been the greatest start to the season for Belos Ria, coming in a little bit later compared to the rest of the team, where they mostly had Fury as the start of a fusion, but Belos Ria has really come into his own here on the Midseason Madness, picking up the Wrecking Ball that the desk were just talking about. The map pool lends itself really well to Wrecking Ball, and the more speedy, stealthy, and from behind engages, he is working incredibly well with MN3 and Zest to architect those.
And Belos Ria's role on this team as usually the Hammond player is so important because of that space creation. Because guess who's going to pop off with a little bit of space and peace and quiet? It's MN3, who's really the star of the show when it comes to Ashe and Sojourn, but really just a standout player in APAC when it comes to the Ashe. And I'm excited to see what he can do. He's definitely in the discussion of top hit scans in the league. And, you know, the Sojourn and the Widow, it stacks up well, too. But you can't talk about MN3 without Zest and how he's a beast on the Tracer. He might even play Echo on more open maps. Still prefers Tracer on even more open maps like Lighthouse. But their opponent is a tough one. The Hangzhou Spark around the corner. Let's see their starters.
Yeah, from one top hit scan to the top hit scan, it's Shy, baby. I think that right now the only person who's really holding up a candle to Shy is probably Kai, and there's a reason that their names rhyme. Shy, when you look at the Sojourn, when you look at the Ashe, when you look at the Widowmaker, this guy flicks like nobody else. He's got patience of the hunter in his blood and puts it to excellent use to always find the frag.
I mean, Shy also had, what, 85% rail accuracy on Sojourn yesterday? Like that, I don't think this person is real. Shy is, I don't think anyone can argue with me. Statistically, he's just the best Sojourn in the league. But when you look at Shy and Alpha Yi together, you gotta say it's a top DPS duo in the league. Alpha Yi is just very flexible. Whether on the Tracer, I've called him the Alpha Yeet because his pulse bombs are just out of this world. But he can also flex to Genji and Echo and other things, and he's the preferred Tracer on the team. And he's pretty disgusting and is having a really good performance this tournament too. And I think, you know, talking to some APAC kiddos out there, Alpha Yi is in the conversation for Rookie of the Year because he's projectile player by trade and, you know, has played some Echo, but hasn't had the most ideal Echo targets. We've seen some Lucio and Moiras, but if I really had to nitpick perfection, that's where I would draw at.
Well, you're talking Alpha Yi and I'm talking Alpha Gamers, because unfortunately we don't have Philadelphia Fusion's webcams at the moment. That's because we're all at home quarantining because of COVID. But I don't know about you, Lemon, but if I hadn't heard it from the source itself, I wouldn't know that they were suffering from COVID. Philadelphia Fusion, the resolve, the resolute determination to continue owning in the Midseason Madness has not been affected by circumstance. The only circumstance that matters to Philadelphia Fusion is that they are in this match and they're trying to avoid a limb.
The Hangzhou Spark have the better seed coming into this tournament. So that means they get to choose our first map, and they want to go to Oasis. Now, APAC really loves their Winston, their Ball, and their dive tanks in general, but when you see Bernard in the lineup over Gushue, that tells me either Sigma or Hammond. And as we go to Oasis Gardens, it's good for both those things, but mainly the Hammond. And I wonder how that's going to match up against Belos Ria, which that's mostly what he's playing as of late, with the occasional Zarya here and there.
The occasional Zarya peppered in for Bernard. Of course, he is, and for Belos Ria as well. Philadelphia Fusion, I expect them to try and match the Tracer here, but Alpha Yi I think that has probably been the best individual tracer thus far, probably matching wits with Kevster and Venom in that top echelon. But when it comes to individual pop-off moments and claiming all of the frags, it's either Alpha Yi or Shy who just commandeer a fight for themselves. Neither of these players is more of a supportive DPS. They both are titans in their own right. Already, Philadelphia Fusion have positioned themselves atop the point as it is going to be a mirror matchup here.
And the Spark, when they faced the Fusion in the first round, it was a 3-1 victory. So how do the Fusion rewrite this script? See Bellosaria below, either hoping to knock off those members from the Spark off the high ground or into the low ground or really into the water. That'd be great. But already Alpha Yi is getting involved and the rest of the Spark coalescing into the Fusion. But Alpha Yi accidentally blinks into a pile drive. It's okay. Bodies falling both sides. And only Super Rich remains as a healer for the Spark. He's trying to play passive, but he's been isolated, and Bernard has left him. But it doesn't seem like Bellosaria wants to commit because he's more concerned with trying to cap the point while the rest of the Fusion are dead.
Yeah, neither of these teams want to give up the first control in particular because it's so important to be able to start accruing that percentage as you continue fighting. Zest claimed by Burner after Shy softened them up with a little bit of pounding from the railgun. Speaking of pounding, he continues to do so. Aim God is on the bad side of the rail, and Hangzhou Spark can now settle into a defensive position, which is so advantageous for a Wrecking Ball and a Sojourn because it means that you can start building up that rail charge early on these teams as they're commuting, and you can start on high ground so you can get yourself a freebie pile driver.
And speaking of pile drives, Bellosaria doing a whole lot. Already 15 off of mines, could be one of the first ultimates if you don't count the pulse bombs, which is fastest generating ultimate in the game. There goes Bellosaria. Pile drive on the high ground. The shield from Super Rich blocks the impact as he heads over into hallway. Bellosaria can flush that out with some mines. We'll get that in a few seconds, but Zest has the pulse bomb, and already they Fusion have started to ward away Spark from the objective, but Fusion just can't seem to get the flip yet, and that's all the Spark have to do is just survive. But as Super Rich goes to contest the point, he jumps into a pulse bomb, and MN3 has already shot 2 people. Fusion hoping slowly but surely to turn the objective over, and it's 57 for Spark before they do so.
Fixer's little grippers can't get back onto a point, unfortunately, but in the end, Lemon, Fusion still flipped the point, and it feels like Zest and MN3 are coming in hot today. Yes, Shire's got a couple of picks onto Aim God, but MN3 in the midst of a fight has had a much easier time negotiating themselves into some headshots on some more prepared targets. Now Fusion from this defensive posturing have themselves a minefield that's going to be countered by Bernard, and Irony is outpacing when it comes to the Transcendence, which is so good for clearing those mines. No overclock for you.
Shy says, I'm the better Sojourn already. Overclocked exchange. MN3 getting no value out of his, dropping first in the fight. Rally from Fixa to keep whatever is remaining from the Fusion, which is everyone exiting, but at least you trade that with the Transcendence of Irony, so not all is lost, but Spark have regained the point.
I think while it does keep Fusion alive and not staggered, I don't think Fix is going to be overly happy with that rally. Now Aim God is going to be under an immense amount of pressure when people start to get low to pop this Transcendence, especially after Bernard and Alpha Yi move together as a diving unit. Bellosaria at least is creating some space here, and Super Rich could be in trouble.
Looks like Super Rich was able to dodge the mines for now. Still have the Transcendence and a Pulse Bomb from actually either side. There's the rally first from Super Rich. Pulse Bomb though on the Irony, and Super Rich again doesn't have much to heal, not even himself, as Stas is going absolutely feral for Fusion. But it is 97 and growing for the Spark, and the Spark don't have any healers. They'll have to give this up, so the Fusion have to fight tooth and nail if they want to turn this round around.
Good news for Custer and Overly on the desk. It seems like Zest and Bellosaria have both plugged themselves into the same Matrix terminal. Their target focus is looking real good right now, even killing Super Rich through the rally, which is a quite difficult thing to do when you're continuously getting that additional overhealth from the ultimate. Hangzhou Spark now, they're making a wide orbit here, trying to catch out anyone who's on too epic a flank, including Bellosaria right now. You can see his silhouette just exchanging fire with Shy and Bernard.
The fire and the flames. We'll see if the Fusion can hold on to the objective. It's really only Zest contesting it, stopping the flip from the Spark, as the Fusion want to control the sides of the map and start to pressure out the Spark supports who are trying to hide. But the chase is on for Alpha Yi, and he finds Bellosaria. Shy gets the diff, MN3 again. who's been a big star for the Fusion, getting those multi-kills. As Alpha E gets 0 kills with that pulse bomb, but all that matters is who's going to be touching the point for the Fusion. It's overtime for the Spark. The Transcendence and the Rally overlap. That's the type of presence that Alpha E has in the backline to scare those supports to death. But the Fusion don't get really any kills from the big advantage they had until now. A great pulse from Zest, but it's traded back and forth, and Bernard is pummeling the backline. As we look at the point, there's 3 members of the Fusion who are successfully getting the flip back. 3 members of the Spark remain in the middle of the map, and Shy is taking bullets to the face from Bellisria. As Irony uses the Transcendence to keep Shy up. He knows he can't afford to lose Shy, and the overclock could be a big win condition for the Spark. 99 to 91, flip back over to the Spark. Overclock from the low ground, hoping to connect on MN3 when he's hiding. And that's what you gotta do. You can't be taking that duel, but a jumping jump, and Shy is dead. A great pile drive from Bellisria to stop any more kills from the Spark. We're left with a 4 versus 4, and this is just a fight that never ends, like they.
Spin to win for now. Philadelphia Confusion is all about an MN3 has popped themselves an overclock. Rail charge for days, baby, but the flip is not forthcoming just yet. Finally, Alpha Yi is slain, and once more, this point will change hands. Unfortunately for Philadelphia Fusion, in the midst of that final fight, they actually allowed Hangzhou Spark to flip it, and that's why overtime was going on and on. I don't know if anyone's here to touch, and the overhead map says no. Philadelphia Fusion claim our first stage, and I would love to know what's going on in the truck at the moment. I bet there are some words being exchanged.
The fact that poor Avali, like her first week in the Overwatch League, and she became a Fusion fan, and just, we tried to warn her, but so far, you can have hopium in the Fusion, but you can't be happy until the series is over. But who could have predicted Fusion fighting for a top 4 spot over Shanghai Dragons and the Seoul Dynasty? It really is the mid-season madness.
Madness is everywhere, Lemon. However, for Hangzhou Spark, we've got to remember they've claimed a very valuable scalp on this map, previously defeating the LA Gladiators, who are going to be playing later on today against the San Francisco Shock in our winners final. That is by no means something that should not be considered. MN3 returns to the Ashe, the same for Shy. Both of these Ashes, they're all about instant DPS being delivered in tandem with the pile drivers. But the question is, whose Wrecking Ball will be able to path their way to the backline first?
And when it comes to those Ashes, they do be headshot. You got the consistent damages, which is what makes Ashe unique over Sojourn. Sojourn does scale up and has insane one-shot potential, but the headshots, just the accuracy that MN3 and Shy have is unbelievable. And the coach gun doesn't hurt if there's a messy Hammond up in your face, which has been, I mean, Bellisria and Bernard are relentless. But first cap going over to Spark maybe, but Zest is trying to deny it, but has already forced to use recall. He comes back up, and Spark are playing really passive. It has to be Bernard that wants to shove everyone back, but he's more concerned with the backline of the Fusion. Here comes Bellisria to assist Zest to stop the cap from the Spark. 75% of the way there, and still no cap. Bellisria, though, hoping to pressure the Spark, who have taken shelter over on the highway side as the Fusion want maybe to take over the high ground, but for now, they do get pile drive, but Bernard didn't have enough health to really get away with that, even with Alpha E in the picture. So it will be Fusion up first, but without Aim God and Bellisria low, we're really gonna come down to some ultimates before we see a first cap like that.
Okay, supportal combat gonna be the order of the day today. Look how much Irony has outpaced Aim God when it comes to this Transcendence. 40% ahead. Irony's been doing a lot more damage and getting some value out of that Harmony Orb as well. And now Spark, they've been able to take this first fight without any ult expenditure. They are ready almost for a 5 ultimate defense, and that's going to take Philadelphia Fusion so long to break through, as Zest seemingly is already trying to use his pulse bomb, even if it hasn't borne fruit.
I'm one with the plant. The plant is with me. Can you plant this pulse bomb somewhere nice? Eat, but no stick. Not enough air on that one. Spark, though, because they got the first cap, they can just play stall. They don't even have to take a fight. They can just bowl around and keep contesting until 99%. It's going to be so difficult for the Fusion to get this back. They need a decisive victory, and they've already started the rally, but they lost MN3. who might have thrown the bomb, but the bomb went over to the mega side where the teleporter is. Yeah, there it is here. So any stragglers that want to go on any type of flanks or just on the coast side, they get shot at, and Shy found that out the hard way. And now people are getting shoved into traffic. Already look both ways. It's too late. He's dead. And now Spark don't have any healers, but they can just try to live for as long as they can. I think they still have Bernard. Nope, he's gone. So a decisive fight for Fusion and the flip in their way.
Unexpected value there from a backstab Bob, and Hangzhou Spark actually used all of their armory in that fight as well. Every single ultimate they had available was used, and admittedly Alpha Yi did enough damage to get back up towards yet another pulse bomb, but Zest is keeping pace. And now Hangzhou Spark, they don't have much to deal with Belos Ria's minefield here. If he makes a good engagement with a minefield and pile driver, it could be curtains.
He's hoping to drop those mines in either the teleporter or the bridge. Chooses the bridge. So it seems the the Spark have to clear those before going on to the high. Irony just, oh, okay, I thought he walked into that. No, it was a Zest pulse bomb. He's been sticking those really well. Now, when you go after Shy, he's already forced to use recall, has to head on back for Mini or the orb from Aim God. Fixa has the rally ready, and Belos Ria is just bulldozing people. And without Super Rich, Sparker's just gonna have a tough time taking this, so they're gonna actually fully reset.
Yeah, Spark's formation there was actually spread super wide. And it was Shy. No. You don't get to get 2 random headshot kills. The DPS of Fusion are dead. How do they try and play this now? The rally, Lemon, is for choice.
Yeah, for now it's a 5-on-3, and the Spark know they have a chance to flip this while Fusion play passive for their last remaining members to get back. Belos Ria's taken a lot of hits. Shy so close to the bot too. If he wants to flush out the Fusion, he can. And the kills continue to go the Spark's way. As Fusion even try a pile drive so low. But they're really just throwing bodies on the objective to extend with the lead that the Fusion do have. Yeah, you claim Shy, but the Spark should be healthy beyond this. And they have ults to keep this going even more.
And the thing is, Fixa had to pop the rally there just for Fusion to even get a fight. Here's a quick look at how Shy managed to dispatch of both of Philadelphia Fusion's DPS. And look at this. Belos Ria was actually reporting over the location of Shy with the 3D peek as well and the pings. And they both still got shot in the noggin. Unbelievable. Shy now has a Bob to try and contest this point, and this point's easy to contest anyway. So it could be that Hangzhou Spark actually try and play this from the high ground, while Philadelphia Fusion have to stay on the low to keep overtime ticking.
Yeah, MN3's last Bob actually went towards the side that you just saw Belos Ria bowl from, and we'd like to see more point presence with the Bobs, unless it's really about what position you want to force them to be in. Now the Bob first from MN3 at the back. Hangzhou Spark thinks it's killable. They deal with the Bob first, but they lost Shy in the process. Rally starts from super rich. They have the Irony Transcendence just in case. Alpha Yi hopes to land a stick, and Bernard sets up the pins for him to hit down. You see, Fixa was isolated for a second. Alpha Yi realizes that Fixa has him marked. And there's a pulse bomb at the ready, but you don't even need to get the stick. But it forces out the Transcendence from Aim God. Now Fusion need to win this fight here and now while they have the resources. And the kills are already going their way. It's 87%. Fusion still looking for the flip. And the Spark keep contesting. They keep thinking it's winnable. And they somehow drew out the rally from Fixa. I don't know if that was necessary.
Drawing out the rally is huge. However, the real thing that needs to be dealt with here for Hangzhou Spark is this minefield. If Irony has to use the trans to get through the minefield to contest, things will go very wrong very fast.
99% for the Fusion. Spark looking for the flip. They go down on stairs, but the mines for Belos Ria, it's so good. They'll force out the Irony Transcendence. He'll use that to clear the mines potentially. The red carpet laid for the Spark. Fusion head to the high ground, a pile drive right on the super rich. Fusion start to coalesce around them. They have the Spark's backline against the wall. Shy is trying to protect them, but he's so low himself. But the Spark's flank of Alpha Yi and Bernard is even stronger, and Shy hits the 3rd kill. Spark head for the flip. Overtime is about to go away in the blink of an eye, and Zest is dueling. He wasn't concerned with the point, and neither was Belos Ria. We head into round 3.
Oh my, Hangzhou Spark, yes, they had their Transcendence forced out by that minefield just so Irony could join the fight, but Philadelphia Fusion could not find the frags on the isolated members like Bernard, who were in the midst of their backline trying to continually tap upon this point, keep overtime going to reduce the pressure on Irony and Super Rich to put themselves in a dangerous situation. It will all come down to University, Lemon. Previous sins have been forgiven, the slate has been wiped clean, but the plays remain just as dirty. Bernard is going to move over onto the Doomfist.
Just these dives have been crazy. The fact that Spark's backline survived just a little bit longer. Here's the Symmetra teleporter to get Spark into a favorable position to the mini-pack side. And with the Doomfist, these close-range quarters is exactly where Bernard wants to be. Fusion, they like the open space. So Bellosaria already heads to coast side, and that makes space for MN3 to have a bit of a high ground to work with. But MN3 is dealing with some troubles over there, and Zessa is not able to help him out. Meanwhile, you got Shy dominating the left side until MN3 gets charged up and finishes him off. Now you got this tussle and the hustle, but it's Fusion hoping to cap first, and Bellosaria is choosing whether to get involved in the fight or go for the objective, and he caps first, but because of that decision, MN3 dies. So Fusion might get a couple percentage, but we'll see how long that'll be held on for. Alpha Yi and Shy are on the objective, and Fusion immediately lose control, and there's nothing Bellosaria can do about it.
Bernard with an excellent take there to try and isolate Fixer, and you can see that Bellosaria is under consistent pressure. The Doomfist does such a good job of trying to control the movement of the Wrecking Ball, and now MN3 forced to use their slide to get away from Bernard. That means it's going to be much more difficult to escape Alpha Yi later on.
Oh, big pick from MN3. Irony and Super Rich are dead. This dive from Fusion is nuts. So besides sometimes being the Philadelphia confusion where they don't work together, when they do have that synergy, they look incredible, and I think that's why they are this far in this tournament, so they will have the point for now.
He's also a bottom as well. There's nothing to really answer it. Irony does not have the nano yet, but you'd give over to Super Rich to try and give that additional hardiness. And of course, you can try and bully out. There we go, perfect stick.
I gotta throw a $5 to my stats people and see what this pulse bomb attach rate from Zest is. He does so much for the Fusion. Fixer starts the rally, and I think that was getting scared by Alpha Yi throwing the pulse in the back. Doesn't connect onto anything. So Fusion may rest for now as the Spark regain.
63% attach rate for Zest thus far. Bellosaria with the mines up into the air and down into Hades, maybe no. It's a nice disengage from a Hangzhou Spark, and now they'll simply take their time. This actually allows Shy to build up a railgun as well by shooting the mines.
Cap for now for Fusion. Transcendence and Overclock almost up, but it's Spark had the 3-ult advantage. Nano, Rally, Overclock at the ready. Shy has mini pack room with his supports. The Nano given to Shy as he wants to finish off Bellosaria. The only thing contesting this for the Fusion as Spark desperately needs a flip, and Shy gets 2! He sees the recall from Zest, wanting to read this. What a sleep on the Fixer! Irony's just built differently. And Zest will contest for a few more seconds to get it up to 82, but it's Spark back in the driver's seat.
Just like Bellosaria at Midseason Madness, Irony has really had a couple of breakout games here in this tournament, proving himself to be a flex support who deserves to be on a top 4 team in the world, potentially. MN3 with the overclock, looking to try and emulate Shy's previous performance, and thus far I'd say we've been going about equal. The attempt to boot them into the bomb, Lemon.
That was almost so cool by Bellosaria. Zest is down, and so is MN3! Shy and friends just coalescing, Spark moving as a unit, looking for even stagger kills any second they can buy to get this lead back. Spark will do anything for it. They're overextending. They haven't been punished for it yet. Alpha Yi uses a couple blinks to get away, and as Fusion looked at Alpha Yi, Shy looked at them back, and even harder, and Spark will kill off Zest and buy some seconds.
Okay, I said that Shy and MN3 had been about equal, but that's twice now that MN3 has popped overclock and instantly been told to sit down and shut up by Shy. And this means MN3 now been forced to go over onto the instant damage that's offered by the Ash. The Dynamite, yes, can force people out of positions, but it might be a little bit harder to follow up on those.
Oh, Alpha is just too good. It's just him versus Zest against the world, and the two picks at 94.5% for the Spark. The Transcendence is forced. Someone from the Fusion has to touch, and it has to be Zest. He's already recalled out. Who is next? Zest comes in, but he's antied. Ballosauria's in the picture. He's close to Bias. He's been slept. All the damage of the Spark is going to Ballosauria. He's barely escaping. He's drawn the Spark back, but there's no front line for the Fusion to keep this one going. You have the ultimates. Overclock, ready for Shy, and the Nano. Who can possibly stop this man? The Fusion have nothing left in the tank, even through the Genji and all the soldiers they sent to the battlefield. The Spark will ignite and take map number 1.
You line them up and Shy will simply knock them down. Hangzhou Spark, what a masterclass from their DPS. Shy, every time you save at this ends now, he says, yes it does, but not the way you wanted it to. And Alpha Yi making sure on that Tracer that no one was ever safe in any of their hidey holes. The sticks came thick and they came fast, but unfortunately, for the Philadelphia Fusion, it's going to be an ignominious beginning to their lower bracket run.
The 63% attach rate from Zest. I mean, we'll probably get to compare those to Alpha E because it's been neck and neck, especially even between MN3 and Shy on the Ashe and the Sojourn. It is chaos, and Spark are ahead. First, we're going to throw it to a break. Let the Fusion decide where they want to go next. Hey Jabari, long time no see. What a map between our superstars of the East. Spark taking it in round 3, but it's been the MN3 versus Shy on the Ashe Sojourn and the Zest versus Alpha Yi on the Tracer duel, and the stats have been really interesting to look at, like that.
Yeah, the stats for Zest and Alpha Yi are about as close as they could be. They're almost equal on final blows and deaths, and there's about 80 damage between them, which is not a huge gulf considering they got about 13,000 damage each. But the pulse bomb attach rate for Zest has been a touch better. However, as you can see at the moment, Lemon, we have Fury coming in for our next map, and Fury's not had the greatest season so far, but I think where Fury really has his value is in his veterancy. This was our Season 1 Overwatch League winner with the London Spitfire alongside GOATs like Gesture and like Prophet. And for Philadelphia Fusion, with the exception of AimGod, this is a ridiculously young team. So many members that were sort of in T1 daycare in Korean contenders for a while, just sort of like being sat on like a goose waiting for the eggs to hatch, like they're going to be 18 any day now, right, Tucker? Yes, they finally became 18, but now they're under the biggest pressure that they have felt yet. Yes, kickoff clash. It was a close one for Philadelphia Fusion and the pressure was mounting, but this is the big international event. This is Midseason Madness, and Fury needs to be the captain who steadies this ship.
And Bernard brings that same veterancy too. I mean, when I first started casting, Bernard was in contenders and was like the diva guy. And now both these off-tanks have grown and to give a lot of options to their teams. Fury, interestingly, has brought out the Doomfist, especially against the Florida Mayhem, which I think is why they've brought him in for this next map. The Philadelphia Fusion, because they lost Oasis, they get the advantage of choosing our next map, and they want to go to King's Row. Last time the Fusion went to King's Row, they full held the Florida Mayhem, which went the distance at Game 5 even, but it was off the back of Fury's Doomfist, and it looked pretty good.
Yeah, not the best known Doomfist player, but evidently Fury is someone who can pick up heroes very quickly. In fact, even when Sigma first came out, I think that was at the end of potentially Season 2, Fury actually picked up the Orisa from Gesture and allowed Gesture to play on the new Sigma hero, and has an incredibly wide hero pool in the pre-222 era as well. We even saw Fury play a little bit of Pharah back in the day to play a third DPS of a London Spitfire. This guy has it all. Even if D.Va was always his best hero, I trust in whatever Fury picks to be of at least a consistent grade of owl-ready tanking. However, as we've seen in our previous rounds as well, especially in Hawk versus Fate in our previous matchup, the Doomfist does a great job of controlling those wrecking balls, and it might limit Bernard's options if he doesn't play the Sigma.
Yeah, the attacking Doomfist can have some troubles just getting up to that high ground. I've seen a lot of success of Doomfist going through hotels, but we also have a lot of success just looking at these DPS. Kind of the statistics that really stood out to me from that last map was Zest having a 50%, ended at, we said 63, and then ended at 50% attach rate, while Alpha Yi was at 25% with same damage. So it kind of tells you Zest can really get the first blood for the Fusion, but even though Spark won the map, it's about, are you following up with the kills that your Ham and really the rest of the team are setting up for you. While as it comes to the battle between Shy and MN3 on the Sojourn, I felt like their Ashes had very similar damage, deaths, and all that, so they're very equal there. But Shy's Sojourn really stood apart from MN3, almost doubling the damage at 9.8k versus 5.6k. So Shy had a better performance on that front. I think I remember it was Gardens. So we'll see how that goes. We might see MN3 return to the Sojourn after that initial Widow snipe, but more Fury Doomfist up to bat.
A little bit more of the, oh, okay, there he goes. Over to the Sigma. One of the things I really want to concentrate on here is the focus fire on Fury to get him below 50% HP, because remember, Alpha Yi has access to the focusing beam while playing on this Echo. And that's going to be super important for taking out Fury, because he's going to use his shield first, and that's going to get broken quickly. And the Kinetic Grasp is his secondary defensive option, which can do nothing against the focusing beam of Alpha Yi.
It's really interesting to see actually Zest on the Ashe, and I guess that's why you bring him in for that. On the high ground, dominating the backline, goes back in the hotel for Mini, because usually when they want that double ranged hit scan, they bring Carpe into that picture. So we'll see how that goes, but for now, even though the picks came out for the Fusion first, they're all dead. They do have respawn advantage, so the kills might matter slightly more for Fusion.
A wicked exit from MN3 right there, sliding away, getting the headshot. Alpha Yi has already moved over onto the Tracer, and Zest in tandem has mirrored over to the Genji instead. We know Zest has a fantastic Genji. Part of his debut in Overwatch League was actually playing some Genji on King's Row. And this is going to give a little bit more brawling power where you can easily skirmish against Bernard and try and force out some early cooldowns from him.
Zest has control of Hotel. Hangzhou need to go recontest, but they'll have to deal with the flank first, and Shy didn't see it coming. The communication from Alpha Yi just not there. Great immortality to save Zest at that moment. Fixa had the right idea. They also, Fusion almost have a second tick. Spark hoping to recontest at the last second here, and it's gonna come from the high ground. Bernard trying to lead that charge. Fusion only have one person here. They're all trying to stop the doorway. It's only Fury, but he's full health. Is anyone really gonna touch? It's Alpha Yi that keeps trying to duel Fury. Dips, dives, and dodges, but Bernard is trying to stop the backline almost. Finally, he goes after Fury. Zest is gonna get involved, but Bernard is okay for now. The defense don't have much left. They have some members in Hotel, but it's Fusion at the closer respawns, and eventually the balances tilt the Fusion's way, and they get the point and the card unlocked.
It's a long and attrition-based battle, but in the end, it's actually Fury who cuts it out with a well-placed rock against Alpha Yi, predicting a blink and crushing the Tracer up against the wall. Now Philadelphia Fusion, they're going to have access to the Blade, but think about the amount of countermeasures that Hangzhou Spark have against this. All that Hangzhou Spark needs to do is make sure they only utilize one of their defensive measures while killing Zest, because he's going to be blading without a nano. He's going to be very vulnerable during that. You can't use both the Trance and the Immo, though. That would be a tragedy.
Yeah, now Fusion have two on the cart. They have Ant Matrix too, so as soon as Sparks show their face, it could be just the Ant Matrixes that can buy some space, even force the other one to back away. Somehow, the defense have already fragged MN3, and that was actually because MN3 was trying to jump up and flank on the right side alleyway, where you see kind of Shy jumping up at, so gotta be careful. And I like the marking that the backline of the Spark are doing. Well, we have a ton of ults, all 10 of them online. Oh, that stick! But the immortality from Fixa! He saved someone's life again the second time this map. Now the Spark are just at a stalemate, and the Fusion are just waiting. It's like both teams are waiting for each other to play their hand first. A little bit of Fusion space as they head around the corner. Zest has the Blade. He has to dash out, though, as the grab flux from Fury gets canceled. And I think Bernard didn't do a whole lot either. Either way, we're still not at much cart push for the Fusion.
Bernard trying to hold this corner right here, and look at that. Fix has already had to expend that Immortality field now. Double damage through the Ant Matrix.
Oh, and MN3 has to head out of there, but Aim God says, I got you, buddy. The Transcendence around the corner to reestablish the Fusion on the Ant Matrix, and Spark head all the way at the back of their alleyway to create some distance. Pix has been picked. Just these random defensive picks from either Shy or Irony are just really ruining the Fusion's momentum. I think that's why they're playing so slow. They're just so cautious. Now Shy's on the flank, and he's gonna look for any picks while the Fusion are waiting. Disruptor shot out. Fury's gonna at least push Shy out of alleyway. Now Fusion only have the Blade to depend on for point B.
Yeah, Fusion, they didn't get to force out Irony's Transcendence, which is a massive pain for Zest to try and deal with. That Discord already applied to him. Does not want to try and run in here. Oh my goodness, fully charged Rail is gonna try and be punished. That kills Shy.
Oh, good deflect. But he's just hesitating on wanting to get the dash through, and just the one and done as long as you live. But Super Rich is dead. Zest sliced through, or got the deflect or something. I have no idea, but the Fusion are ahead. They force the Transcendence out. The Spark want to stabilize as much as they can, but they're down two, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. But at least Spark did a good job of draining a lot of this time bank from the Fusion, but it will still be a point B cap.
Oh, irony there. Holding Transcendence for Overwatch 3, not ideal at already. Let Super Rich die. Admittedly, Irony could not save Shy in any case with that Transcendence. There were simply too many walls between them and the travel distance would have been too long anyway. MN3 fails to get up to high ground, so this is a little bit of an opening for Hangzhou Spark, and Zest has to address that while MN3 gets stuck.
That's good. You deny MN3 any chance to get some kind of flank or opening angle on the Mega Pack side, and Zest couldn't disengage in time for the Hangzhou Spark, took that area back over. And without any DPS, the Fusion do not want to get staggered anymore, but Spark don't want to overextend and make a mistake either.
Bernard getting close here to the Gravitic Flux is going to be an issue for Philadelphia Fusion. They don't have the Immortality Field. Best case, only one person gets caught and they get Nano to try and survive it. Zest just going to continue keeping people off the high ground for the moment and building up towards that Nano Blade potentially, considering the Irony's out of sync.
Yeah, Irony used Transcendence at the end of point B, but you're going to start with the Grav Flux, and MN3 has already killed one, so maybe you conserve the Nano Blade for the end of point B. But it's an Amp Matrix in the face of Fury. He uses the Matrix, and he does get out for free. The Nano's given to Zest, but he doesn't want to use the Blade. He got a little too overconfident, I guess. Not sure if he thought the Transcendence was still up. Now the Fusion hesitate and are missing some members on this final push. You see Fix is far forward. The Transcendence now from Ape God? I don't even think Fury's in this picture at all. I'm not sure, but the Hangzhou Spark aren't too healthy, and the Fusion are going to be relentless on this push. Now the Blade going after Bernard, but the accretion and the follow-up is so good. You shut down the Blade. It's up to the overclock of MN3 to help the Fusion get the last 2 meters. Someone has to touch, and Irony can't get there in time. So somehow the Fusion cap with 53 seconds.
Speed, power, and ferocity, Lemon. Never give up an inch. Never give up a fight. It's always #winnable. Oh my goodness. Philadelphia Fusion there, they just decided to take the momentum they saw and roll with it, even though there was a little bit of a kerfuffle going on in the back when no one wanted to kill the Immortality Field. It was like, oh, Fury will kill it. Ah, Zest will kill it. MN3 will probably kill it. No one did in the end, and I think that may have given a little bit of additional time for Super Rich and Bernard in particular to stay alive, and that meant Bernard could actually slam Fury down with that Gravitic Flux, even though he was in a very vulnerable area. Still, Hangzhou Spark, they may not have given as much respect to the Philadelphia Fusion as was needed when Philadelphia Fusion just started investing so heavily in trying to reclaim that space, because Hangzhou Spark, they thought, oh, no team would be silly enough to do this. Right, guys? No one would do that. Alas, Philadelphia Fusion did that, and Hangzhou Spark, this is a very similar situation to what we saw yesterday when Shanghai Dragons got beaten down on Eichenwald by the San Francisco Shock. They just kept going into these positions they assumed would be safe because most teams would not peek this. Alas, Philadelphia Fusion, they do.
Yeah, the Fusion, they just know. Even though they lose a member or two, they just know where their advantages are and they know when to push. And Spark had just no space at the end to work with. And the Irony Transcendence at point B, I think, was such an error because Fusion had a free Blade out of it. Now, Bernard has been keeping Zest in check when he was on the Genji, but now it's the Hangzhou. So, important information from the Sonic arrow, especially just knowing he actually places it on the statue and not hotels, just to see, especially where Alpha Yi is rotating to. Now, for now, the Fusion defense on the high ground, and somehow Alpha Yi hits the headshot. That'll open things up for the Spark. Bernard also protects him well, but now starts to anchor the objective as the Fusion have to figure out how many ticks they want to give up, or do they want to contest the first one? Because Fury's around the corner, but he wants to make sure Alpha Yi doesn't get 3 shots into the backline if Fury just drops a contest point. So Fusion are giving up the first tick. Are they going to give up the second? They're just so tunneled on Alpha Yi on this right side. They don't want him to have access to Aim God and MN3 in the window. Now almost the third take goes through, but Fusion finally dropped.
Well, this is the weakness of the composition, Lemon. When you're playing this double sniper kind of approach, no one's able to go down and really brawl on the point except for the Sigma. And if the Sigma gives up the high ground, he's going to take hours to get back up there. Next time Hangzhou Spark attack, Fury's going to have to move faster. Otherwise, he's going to get exploited.
Just healing Bernard up to full so he can just be the person who caps the point. and then draw the attention, draw these vulnerable members of the Fusion out so Spark can get the picks, but it's really Zest on the high ground that has angles above the shields of Bernard, has taken care of Alpha Yi. Bernard takes a ton of headshots, almost gets killed if it wasn't for the immortality of Super Rich, and just Spark is so close to capping. It was 10% away. Now they have the Amp Matrix from Super Rich from the hotel, and Zest gets a 3K off the Dragon Strike to flush them all out. I just can't believe this. Fusion have ordered away a massive storm.
So this has finally started to work because Zest is actually hitting his shots now. He's getting the headshots that he needs, Lemon. And before, Philadelphia Fusion simply were not removing any members of the Hangzhou Spark, so Fury didn't feel safe enough to go down to the low ground because he would have been surrounded and torn apart. Hangzhou Spark now, though, they have so many ultimates to work with. Fury's going to have to play this Flux perfectly.
Fusion are playing so passive, you just can't seem to find them. You can't get a shot onto them until they find you first. Dragon Strike as Fury goes to drop down. The immortality is already dealt with. Fury's in a lot of trouble. And oh my god, Spark, 3% away. Finally, the Fusion straggled their way back to the objective, and then Spark can finally win a fight. It took so much time, though. Definitely significantly slower than Fusion's attack.
Yeah, unfortunately for Philadelphia Fusion, the second that they gave up 2 ticks in that initial fight without being able to find any picks from Zet. The Bastion.
What?
Oh, never mind. Oh, no beat boop today. Okay, fine. I will settle for the Echo. Alpha Yi also swaps over to the Genji here, which has an okay matchup. And then back to the Hangzhou once more. Both of these teams trying to outplay each other when it comes to these counter picks. And now Zest, once again, is going to feel pretty vulnerable up in the air. Alpha Yi will be able to do a significant amount of damage. The wing hitbox of the Echo is really good for the Hangzhou.
I think the Hangzhou is great for just these narrow streets, but the Echo might be better for the more open area of the map at the end of point B. And depending on who you copy, can just add the extra resource, the extra damage, extra frontline, whatever Zest thinks the team needs. Shy goes for a flank over on Ali's side. MN3 keeps him in check with a disruptor shot. Zest has already assassinated Alpha Yi, so MN3 is going to get a bit more eager, has drawn out the immortality from Super Rich. Now Fusion can definitely play more aggressive if they want. They have the Transcendence if things don't go their way. They also don't want to walk in the line of fire of Shy, who can easily trade things out.
Check out how MN3 and Fury actually play kind of like as a faux tank. Sometimes MN3 will just call for a pocket and then push on the opposite side to give Fury the room to move up and try and crunch in onto a tightly packed Hangzhou Spark. Zest, no stickies right there, is going to move in onto Alpha Yi. Was that an accretion in midair? Bloody hell!
The fly has been swatted and Alpha Yi claims 2, so the Spark head towards point B. They might have lost Alpha Yi, but they haven't lost hope. And Fury, speaking of which, last hope for Fusion with the grab Flux, and you have 2 support ults. See if Fusion gonna keep the contest going. Shy is above and he has 100 charge. And Zest is in his sight, but he's so focused on dislodging Fury. He is the anchor and he wants to kill him before the grab Flux, but too little, too late. The Nano has to be placed on the Fury to save him and to keep the Flux going. More ults from the Fusion, including the Transcendence, to revitalize the defense, to stop the Spark from capping. Now we're left with really very little ultimates as blow after blow has been exchanged, and it's only Alpha Yi with the Dragon Strike. Goes up to the left side, and he's met with 2 DPS, and no one touches from the Fusion. They were running from the Dragon Strike from Alpha Yi that was right on the cart, and Fusion's DPS were flanking left side. Now 2.5 minutes for C, I guess, for Spark.
Alfie did a really good job of playing the off angle there and getting a clean line of sight onto the supports of Aim God and Fixer. That meant that Fury had to adjust and then was once again forced to move by the Dragon Strike. Admittedly, Alpha Yi, an early casualty here to Zesh just popping in through the window and hitting the stickies. The Hangzhou Spark have already got themselves some significant distance on this cart from Philadelphia Fusion's late deaths.
Oh no, you ran out of gas! It's out of gas. So, Fusion.
It's expensive these days, Lemon.
Yeah. Well, Zest will be back with Dupe. Someone's getting beat in this doorway. It's actually Fury, who's holding things down and Fix it anti-Shy to stop him. He was just getting so aggressive on Fury because Zest was still coming back, but guess who's back? Respawns are pretty close for the Fusion. Spark only have 1.5 minutes. They're just around the corner with only a grab flex to depend on, but it's Fusion that can pull the trigger first. The Nano's given to MN3. Zest copies the Hangzhou. It's an all-out assault from the defense as they take flanks around the doorways and through the Mega side. They deal with the immortality from Spark, but Spark really haven't lost much. They have all 5 members, I think, still alive, so a grab flux is thrown from Bernard and from Fury as Irony uses the Transcendence to keep his front line up. And now surely we're out of ultimate soon, and you're definitely without Shy now.
All right, coming around the back, Shy's dead. MN3, plenty of charge in the overclock. It seems like, yep, Super Rich has been identified, taken out, and the rest of Hangzhou Spark, they're in pretty poor positions here, Lemon, essentially hostages. Goodbye.
Oh, Bernard. He's dead too. The Spark could be dead too in the next 40 seconds if they don't get something done.
Yeah, we could go 1-1. Tie up our game, and that's exactly what we want here in Midseason Madness lower bracket. No 3 Overwatch, please. Let's keep them being bangers. Philadelphia Fusion in the back pocket, a Transcendence here, but what is going to be the trigger for it? Ideally, you need to keep your team safe when they're forced into a bad position by the Dragon Strike, and you don't really have the speed to avoid it if it's used close enough and in the midst of a battle by Alpha Yi, so MGod needs to hold off on this as much as possible.
Spark have the DPS ultimates. It's a Dragon Strike right behind the Fusion, but a little too far back. Fusion are still comfortable with the space that they have. Now Shy may be trying to battle for the high ground against Zest, but the Genji is so great at getting back into the high ground and climbing back up, but Shy just dominates the low ground, has already killed 2 with the overclock, including Fixa, and Angod's already used Transcendence. He can't keep this team up all by himself. But the Fusion can still frag at a distance. They get further and further away towards their respawns. They don't want to get staggered. And Zest has killed 2, even through the immortality. And Spark are down 3. They can't keep it going. It looks so good. But the Philadelphia Fusion will tie it on King's Row.
Philadelphia Fusion surviving through the amplification matrix, using that Transcendence meant that they could catch Shy in a position where he was not hitting the headshots and couldn't kill anyone. He slid a touch too far, and Fusion were quick to answer and to punish it. And after that, well, what more can I say than it was Zest in time, baby. On the Genji, kill after kill, the high ground was challenged, and the high ground was claimed. Lemon, this is gonna go the distance. We are 1-1.
They might say that the West is best, but in the East, it's Zest that's best. Some fabulous Dragon Strikes and plays and more. The Fusion fought so hard for that. We have a tie series, so we're going to throw it to a break. We're going to hear from the Spark on what map is next.
They were waiting for Zest to rejoin the fight, and when he does, oh boy, is it worth the wait. Here as he fishes for a little bit of extra primal charge, but man, Zest went off on this attack. He showed that he has a fire and a fury in his belly. Midseason tries to get that kill, can't make it happen. Blade gonna be pulled first and foremost here by Zest. Dashing in, gets both of the supports, doubles down for another one there. Zest is there for the alley-oop, comes through to help finish off the supports.
Want to get that combo underway, beautiful false bomb from Zest. He's kind of walks into that one.
Zest and Fixa continuing to find these kills. The Fusion might have just now brought it back.
The difference from Zest, the young rookie for Fusion, gives them the opportunity to save the fight when it was looking so dire. Talk about profit clutching, that was a Zest clutch.
Zest has definitely been a treat to watch. A huge playmaker from the Dragon Strike to really open things up on the point of King's Road to his Genji multi-kills. He really can do it all.
Yeah, Lemon, it's hot Zest summer, that much is for sure. These are the stats from Genji, but of course played a multitude of heroes over on King's Row. In fact, 20 final blows all in all for Zest, and that was a large amount when it came. It was almost a deadlift for Philadelphia Fusion, who admittedly all showed up in that arena. Speaking of someone who's showing up, Belosaria has returned to the fray alongside Gushwei, and you know what that means? Once again, the 1,000-folded Gorilla Steel shall be drawn from its sheath as the Primal Blade has arrived on the scene, and you know exactly where Spark want to go for escort. Every time they get to choose, they decide, you know what, I think it's Dorado time, so that Gushwei can come from his Kung Fu Panda Tai Lung prison and dominate.
Yep, Gushwei really known for his Winston, and really there's just not many other Winston players left in the tournament that can touch Gushwei. And then Bernard can just focus on Hammond and the Sigma, so you know why you bring Gushwei in. And, well, we also know what map we're going to next, and it's the Sparks choice. And they've cooked up a good one. We'll be going to Dorado. And I think that's exactly why the Fusion have brought back Belosaria. No Carpe today, at least not yet.
Yeah, Carpe not playing as much in this tournament. MN3 and Zest being committed to us for Philadelphia Fusion. They're two rookies. They have seen the light and they have brought them to the forefront. And Spark, we've got to say that Shy and Alpha Yi, probably one of the most consistent DPS duos in the league in terms of just the overall playtime that they get together. We've only seen a couple of substitutions when Architects come in. I think it's been to play Anna, and I think Pineapple has played one map, a Circuit Royale alongside Ligue, and I think that was when Spark had already qualified for Midseason Madness. But as we head into Dorado, Lemon, I wonder if Belosaria is going to return to his main tank roots of Winston or continue playing the Wrecking Ball, because the Wrecking Ball definitely has its place at the moment, and it's very good for setting up engages for both your Sojourn, if she's got a charged up rail shot to follow up your Pile Driver, or your Tracer. But where the Wrecking Ball lacks is in its ability to hold space effectively. That's where Winston excels. He can be a long-time duelist. He can continue to play around carts for a long time with his shield, and of course usually with an Anna at his back. And holding space is super important when you're more reliant on your players like Shy to have the space to operate.
Well, I think Hangzhou Spark know a thing or two about space, especially if you guys... Did you guys catch the Hangzhou Spark Gladiators match yesterday? Because that was some of the best Overwatch we've seen. It went all the way to Game 5, but they also went to Dorado, where Hangzhou Spark, well, they won that map and even had a minute 23 to spare to win the map. It was behind a Gushwei Winston, Alpha Yi Tracer, Shy Sojourn, and then some Brig Ana. So clearly playing to their strengths, and if you're able to beat the Gladiators on this map, I got some hopium.
Admittedly, I'm yet to see Super Rich sipping the Super Rich tea thus far today with his excellent tiny little cup. That's a man who understands portion control, Lemon. We're going to be heading into the map real soon. I wonder what Shy has got hung over the back of his chair there. Seems to be some kind of t-shirt, but I can't quite make out the message.
Yeah, someone let us know what that is. I'm sure it's like... Well, it could be also a sweat towel, but maybe it's something like memorable.
Is this part of the Shy lore? Are we going to have a Shy lore drop? I'm sure someone will let us know what it's all about. I love the Hangzhou Sparks custom chairs as well. And
just to say quickly about, we think Super Rich is like this calm guy. He meditates, or at least he jokingly meditated before one of his matches. He's got a little teacup, and we did confirm it is tea. Shout out to Twitter for that. But also, this guy talks smack. Like, Hangzhou Spark and Gladiators yesterday was obviously entertaining because of the level of skill, but also the amount of trash talk that happened, which is from Super Rich, writing easy and whatever, stuff like that. So that was hilarious.
Admittedly, Super Rich never throws the first punch. He was up against Reiner, and Reiner's a known motor mouth. He's like the he's the player equivalent of Mitchell Beleslie. Likes to pop off sometimes, shout some things, do some all caps messaging. As we head in to Dorado with its brand new funky soundtrack, Hangzhou Spark. Going to be starting off on the attack here, I believe. And Philadelphia Fusion, I want to see if Belos Ria is going for the ball or for the Winston, which is going to be important in determining how they're... Oh, the MN3 Ashe as well. I quite like this in particular for Dorado because on the high grounds, it means you can peek out and deliver instant damage without having to worry about over-peeking to try and build up the railgun using the primary fire of Sojourn. And that could be dangerous when you're going up against potentially Widowmakers. I
just think MN3, especially on the Ashe, is just so impressive. But even through on map 1 Oasis, Shy's Sojourn did diff MN3 in terms of damage by about 4 or 5k. So already had a good performance there. I would say MN3 looks like the stronger Ashe. Shy looks like the strongest Sojourn. Maybe you guys want to argue with me. I'll tussle and hustle about that. But Hangzhou Spark will be out the gates with a Widow to get some initial snipes in. And Gushui will have to see what space he can make on the Winston.
All right, plenty of targets arrayed there, but none which are easily slain. And so Alpha Yi, Tracer or Genji? Tracer it is. Lack of verticality here, but it does mean that you'll be able to brawl out a little bit better against Belos Ria and chase him down when he tries to make these escapes.
So the Spark just have some push going for now on the Fusion. It's all about those picks. You'll have the better dynamite angle for MN3 if you can build up towards the bomb. That's also nice, but Shy can easily slip and slide up into the top right. You just maybe want some help with that. But how could you possibly feel comfortable doing anything if you're the Spark when you got Belos Ria just pounding her backline and just stomps Irony like a bug?
Burning to death. Bad way to go, Lemon. But for Philadelphia Fusion, this defense is going rather well. MN3 was actually isolated. And that means that Gushui can pick up the kill. But unfortunately, Gushui is a little bit too far in. And Irony there actually had his sleep baited out by Belos Ria, who kind of faked going for a pile driver when he was actually just sailing over the top. And after Irony had expended that sleep dart, that's when Zest and Belos Ria actually committed to the dive.
Might need the Spark to... react to Belos Ria, hit the sleep, but then not having the Zen to just Discord or Belos Ria might mean they might lack in damage to really take them down, but we'll have to see how that goes. Shy at least can snipe MN3 at range. Is that a sleep on the Zez? Kind of nasty.
Oh, yeah.
So Spark are up by 2, and they'll get to go towards Market.
Couldn't hit the Wrecking Ball, but the Tracer, apparently for Irony, just slightly easier, charging up towards the next railgun. You know that every time Shy has that up, everyone on Philadelphia Fusion has to cower. There's plenty of space, alas, for Philadelphia Fusion to get themselves a second contest here, and no major ultimates to stop them. Over the course of this next fight, Irony should be able to build the Nano, and that's likely to go on to Gushui to force a fight on the objective.
Oh, does he get out? He does. Irony's having a pretty nice performance on the Ana so far, just sleeping Zez, Belos Ria a little bit more. Now the Nano though, to Gushui, tries to clear that left side, pressuring it out. On the right though is MN3, and you can't forget about him. Zez also wants to flank from that side, and Gushui just took too much pressure, not able to use the Primal in time. Minute 36 left, the Spark, they either need to give up now or start heading away. At least they draw out the Transcendence from Aim God, but it's matched by the Rally and the Overclock by Shy. So Spark think this is winnable, and it's really 3 members of the Fusion preventing this from getting capped. They can trade this out between Belos Ria and Zest to keep it contested forever. And if things get real hairy, they can always depend on an MN3 bomb, but they can invest less. It's always nice. And Spark just ran out of wind in their sails to keep the momentum going, so they'll have to head back.
As good as he's been on the Winston recently, I think Gushui actually jumped the gun a little bit there with a first engagement. Irony gave Gushui the nano, and Philadelphia Fusion, they weren't even really committed to the fight yet, so this engage was super easy to handle, and Gushui over-chased, looking to try and extract value from the ultimate, where admittedly, maybe just giving up and going back to the cart would have been the better idea. Zest forces out an early recall from Alpha Yi, so now he's going to be out of the fight for a little while longer.
Ooh, that's a zesty one. Doesn't hit, though. So Fusion chill. They'll have a Bob left over. And the Spark, maybe you want to just try and punish Belosria. He's not too worried, though. He escapes into the shadows on the right, Spark on the chase, and you have Bob just thrown in the middle of the map, so it forces Spark to be trapped on the right side. Hangzhou a little bit split from each other, and I don't see Fusion wanting to punish Spark's presence in the mini-pack room. So at least the Bob from MN3 did buy time, but MN3 will have to buy a new life. He's gone for now. Belosria is too low. Alpha Yi has the hunt and the chase down. So the Spark just have to keep pushing the cart, but it's overtime. It's last chance, and Irony's dead before he can deliver the nano. But the kills still come through on the front line. You still have 4 members of the Spark, so they cap. So I might have freaked out too soon there. Irony, that's my boy. He gotta live.
Once again, it's Shy who opens everything up. He is the Omni tool of the Hangzhou Spark. Getting that headshot onto MN3 was so important, and now MN3 goes back over to the Ash once more, having swapped over, I believe, to the Sojourn to try and slide back and return faster. Gushui is doing a little bit of poke to try and control the high ground. You can see that Alpha Yi's on the other side. This is simply to make sure that Philadelphia Fusion can't freely poke down on the less vertically inclined members of the Hangzhou Spark as they bring this cart into a more fightable position.
Alpha Yi just trying to sneak by, but Aim God is doing a good job of marking him. The double blink took too much damage. Ooh. And MN3 coach comes back, headshots Alpha Yi. And Spark lose their chance to get an opening kill on the high ground. Gushui jumps back up though, you have the nano advantage. But he already gets flailed back down thanks to Fixa. So Spark, their next win con will be around the nano, or maybe they even want to save it for the Primal Rage from Gushui.
Overclock in the hands of Shy. Given the Discord, you can see that he is a primary target, and removing Shy from the battle as quickly as possible is always in the interest of a Philadelphia Fusion as Super Rich pops the rally.
Zest doesn't hit on the pulse. Rally starts. Gushui Primal 2. Irony waits for the moment to hit the nano. It gives it to Shy, who jumps around the corner with Overclock and hits 2! The snipes on this man! That was the 80% rail accuracy we saw from yesterday, and he certainly do be hitting different. Shy is a one-man army, and the Spark head for point B.
He is simply the railgun of Damocles. Yes, there's going to be a Zest contest, but how long can he last for? The recall used, Gushui's in the way, and Hangzhou Spark, they make up for lost time on point B, with Shy continuing to dominate. MN3 here is on the Ash to try and deny space from Gushui, who can be knocked back twice. Once by the whip shot and once by the coach gun. But that's simply Gushui forcing out resources. It's all about making space for Shy to do this magic that we know he is capable of.
And the Spark chill for now. Thinking about where MN3's positioning going to be, which is currently not on the high ground. Alpha Yi does some initial scouting just to see where Fusion are coming out of. Right now, just some free cart push. Pile drive from Belosria. Force out the bubble from Gushui. Discord Orb on Super Rich. Fusion send MN3 towards the mini-pack hallway on the left side, who's close to Bob, and that can be a good push if he can get the Bob behind the Spark while they're disengaging. But I guess you don't even need the Bob if MN3's on that power position high ground and hits headshots, so Spark are going to take a second to recuperate.
And MN3, if Fixa plays with him, he should be undivable for Gushui. Alpha Yi might be able to get a touch more purchase after those cooldowns have been expended, and that will give good pathing to try and get a pulse bomb stick. You can see what Belosria is actually using the 3D peek at the moment. Beautiful stick, Irony, no nano today, baby!
The pulse and then the Bob on top. The Spark are also getting pushed from the front by Belosria. But Fusion don't want to invest any more ultimates there, so the Spark had to just deal with the Bob, but without Alpha Yi, this is not a good fight. With Shy getting headshot by MN3, I'm still not feeling good. So, yeah, Spark are getting kind of Thanos snapped in these fights, and we got 22 seconds left to see if they can complete.
Not quite high noon, but Rifles at dawn goes the way of MN3. Philadelphia Fusion now. If you want to come onto this cart, you're going to have the brave farmer Belos Ria's Field of Mines. And man, he's been growing them with a green thumb and a tender love and care. Alpha Yi's going to have to be the one to contest the cart, but guess who's waiting? Mr. Zest.
Almost 5 ults from the Spark, but 2 support ultimates from the Fusion. They got to layer these properly to survive the assault from the Spark. The Nano to Gushui, he's in the back. He has Primal. You don't have to worry about that main tank, but you got to worry about Alpha Yi versus Zest. Zest heads back to get some rally over health from Fixa. Belos Ria chases around someone on that high ground just to buy some space, but he gets antied, and Belos Ria just got too eager and overstayed his welcome. Spark have the overclock. Shy forcing MN3 to drop down. Fixa has to go with him, and Spark have now trapped the Fusion carry and have battered him against the wall. But Zest will claim 1-2. Irony's out of the picture. Super Rich is forced to use Rally to make up for those resources, but it's matched by the Transcendence of Aim God. Belos Ria buys time. The respawn advantage is for the Fusion. MN3 has the last hope with the bomb, but Shy has the shots. The recall. Zest don't want that smoke, but Belos Ria goes behind, and Shy and friends of Spark aren't worried. They want to stop the reinforcements. They want the cap in overtime. It's do or die from the Spark, and MN3 dies with bomb! Oh my god, Alpha Yi makes it happen! They just have to kill Belos Ria and stop the supports of the Fusion from touching, and they can't! The Spark will complete.
A biblical brotherhood of DPS demons, Shy and Alpha Yi, continue to say, we refuse to die. The lower bracket means nothing. We will slay our own APAC brothers if we have to get back and get our revenge on those who disrespected us. Alpha Yi, unbelievable timing. Making sure that Bob couldn't appear was absolutely critical. But when it comes to my opinion, Lemon, Belos Ria there was the real criminal misusing his minefield. He could have negotiated a 2 versus 1 against Alpha Yi on that cart, using the minefield with Zest, and made sure that Hangzhou Spark had to fight in overtime in the minefield. But instead, went elsewhere. I think he tried to assassinate Irony instead. I didn't see where the minefield went, but it certainly wasn't in the location that we wanted. And because Alpha Yi was able to survive that 1v1, he was able to do this.
Watch this. Kill Zest from the sky. That Eagle, it's a plane. No, it's the Angel delivering the win and stopping MN3. He actually had bomb and could have thrown it, but was just trying to do it the old-fashioned way, I guess. But Spark still complete. And this is for the series lead, series point to remain in the lower bracket. And we'll see what Fusion have up their sleeve, starting not with a Widow like the Spark did at the start, but with a Sojourn Tracer. And instead of a Hammond dropping down on the defense, it's Gushui on the Winston.
Shy, currently on the deadlift. 12 out of 18 final blows for Hangzhou Spark. I call this guy the best hit scan in the world, and right now the numbers are backing me, Lemon. Philadelphia Fusion slowly creep this cart forward as Gushui pokes from the top and then moves into position. But what? They stopped his disengagement. They actually caught Gushui as he jumped out using the pile driver. Perfect timing from Belos Ria.
Great punish on the defense so far, so the Fusion get a free push. And remember, Spark's defense back then took a lot, or Fusion's defense took a lot of time at this particular point. So already a head start from the Fusion. But this is the toughest part of the map to get through, at least for point A, of course. MN3 almost connecting on to Alpha Yi, but it's a body shot. Shy on the card, advances forward. The defense collapsing on the supports, but not yielding any result. It's the DPS of the Fusion that strike through many members of the Spark, only leaving Shy and Alpha Yi to defend. MN3 has come alive, and he's not making this duel against Shy and MN3 just that easy.
And that was a mechanical masterclass as well from MN3 and Zest. When it came to the tempo, Hangzhou Spark should have been winning that battle. They forced Belos Ria out, and then Hangzhou Spark managed to move forward and look for picks. But Zest and MN3, they negotiated their way into the back line, found the soft underbelly, and put the damage exactly where it needed to be. Yes, Zest might get forced out here by Alpha Yi, but the thing is, Zest gets the Harmony Orb at range from the Zenyatta, so can take this duel for a lot longer than Alpha Yi, who has a much more rigid sightline from his Ana.
good Belosaria bowl arounds. Is either gonna force mobility cooldowns like the jump from the Winston to just get back up. Might even get an assassination, because there is no immortality. There is a sleep that Belosaria has to worry about, and maybe Zest should have worried about that flail. So it's a 4v5. But you can see that Spark have already dropped down to stop some of the cart push going, so Fusion are going to take a second.
Great surveillance there from Alpha Yi. Just crunched from 3 sides. Zest had no time to react when all 3 members just put some damage his way. Still, the cart continues to move. Belosaria's had a couple of suspect grapples at the moment. And Alpha Yi caught on the recall. MN3 was counting the seconds and counting the pixels.
Yeah, Alpha Yi has been holding this guard inside, and finally Spark Fusion identify that. So you got the overclock from MN3, but Shy is nanoed and he has overclock too. His energy's over 9,000. He's already killed 2. The immortality can't save you now, Fusion. And they're on. And Gushui wants to line things up for Shy, but Belosaria is just too quick with it.
An excellent decision made there by Irony. Shy was in danger of getting no value, not only out of that overclock, but out of this defensive fight. If he had caught another shot from MN3 before that nano came down, it was curtains for Shy, curtains for the ultimate, and maybe curtains for the defense as well. But Hangzhou Spark stand fast behind their avatar of war. Irony certainly knows where his bread is buttered, and now Belosaria once more has to try and support a high ground fight where Zest is currently alone. The timing suspect.
Yeah, Zest and Belosaria at least working together to pressure Spark on that high ground, forcing them down. Alpha Yi trying to mark Zest the best he can while not letting the cart progress any further. Fusion have a lot of time, but they can't waste it. MN3 and the supports of Fusion head for Bank. It's a nice shelter from any high ground assault that the Spark may have cooked up. As Belosaria blaze the mines on the high ground there, and Super Rich runs into one of them. Kind of needed him for the rally. Also, Irony is blending in with the plant, and I don't think Belosaria saw him. Either way, his job was to go to the cart because Fusion almost pushed it in front of Spark, who have now lost 2 members. Gushui is low. He's got this corner bottom, and it was only Alpha Yi just keeping the cart contested, so Fusion can't be.
All right, Belosaria being the pop-up pirate right there. That was a lovely minefield. And of course, a pile driver that finished it as well. Super Rich had no idea what hit him from behind. And getting rid of that rally meant that Philadelphia Fusion could fight on the cart so much harder because Irony was having to give away his heals one by one. And they had to choose between Gushui and Alpha Yi. And Alpha Yi was also trying to hide from Philadelphia Fusion on the same angle, which meant Irony was having trouble getting that getting those hits in. Zest is very stealthy here, yet to be noticed. Still no one knows.
Peekaboo! Zest hits the pulse bomb, Irony's dead, so this is looking kind of sketch for the Spark, but they're going to make do with what they have, and what they have is a rally, bit of overhealth. Just playing super passive here. Shy is above on the high ground too, could get some picks to try and equalize things. Gushui's going to help out. He's got the primal, and he's going for the back line. The Transcendence is activated. He's battering the supports against the wall, and they somehow live. Transcendence did help a lot too, but Gushui's back in this. He's got the nano. Shy will have to return soon. He's not in this fight yet, but Spark will make do with the 4 that they have. Respawns are close too, and Fusion have lost 2. Shy just does it again. You can never be safe when Shy is on the field, but Fusion, they at least have time to spare.
Gushui's nano engage right there forces out so much attention from the Philadelphia Fusion, but it allows Shy and Alpha Yi some space to negotiate themselves the angles needed to find the shots with the overclock and with the pulse bomb as well. Philadelphia Fusion, admittedly, they still have plenty of time. 2 minutes and the ultimates to try and make it work. Zest with an early pulse bomb doesn't appear to connect onto anything special. Must have been a whiff as Belosaria. This is huge.
He shoves them all into the corner, and somehow no one dies from not even Super Rich at this point. And now with the mines gone from Belosaria and the pulse bomb from Zest, Fusion don't have any ultimates. This could be just about generating those, punishing Spark where you can, and Shy advances forward with Gushui, claims aim god while he was hiding in staircase, and jumps back to safety. The 1 kill is all the Spark need to ward away Fusion.
Philadelphia Fusion, their timing's just off, Lemon. They're playing Overwatch like a mortgage. They're doing their dive in installments. First Zest, then Bellosaria, then the rest of the Fusion come in afterwards. They need to move as one, and yes, Bellosaria and Zest have finally found that timing now, but it's too late. They don't have the resources to really force anyone out of these positions.
And Shy uses the disruptor shot to stop any pushes from stairs and uses the shot to kill MN3. It's just as easy as that. MN3 just feeling the pain. Shy dominating the lobby, receiving the nano love, and now Spark going for more picks where they can, but never overextending to a point where they're getting picked, and that's just the intelligence that the Spark have.
And the thing is, once Bellosaria is forced to disengage and look for health packs, that's when Hangzhou Spark get their counter dive in, and they can really control the tempo of the fight using Gushue and Alpha Yi. For now, it's all about defense, making sure that Bellosaria is not going to be present in the majority of the fight, playing counter dive instead.
Zest needs to yield something with this pulse bomb. At least getting close to killing Alpha Yi here. It's forced a couple blinks out. No recall though. Hangzhou Spark have two support ultimates. The nano to Shy, and he needs it. He dropped down below 50% HP. He's in the backline of the attack and has killed two. Fusion just can't seem to start these fights on the right foot. But they will be now. Spark will now lead the series 2-1. The Fusion unable to go to the finish line.
It's 3 AM here in the UK. Lemon and Shy is in your backline with a nano overclock. There's nothing to be done. Hangzhou Spark identified the weakness. Once Bellosaria had to go and look for a health pack, it was all about finding those engagements. And the thing is, when Bellosaria leaves as the main tank, that means that Shy can be a lot more audacious with actually joining that dive and making those flanks into the backline alongside Gushue and Alpha Yi. That's the weakness of the Wrecking Ball. When his downtime is exploited by Hangzhou Spark using a high uptime main tank like Gushue, there are openings that can really be exploited by players like Shy and Alpha Yi.
That's why you got to invest in those Shy stocks. 21 out of 32 final blows, I believe I heard from the stats team. The Spark go to series point behind some fabulous Sojourn play. But we go to push next, and we'll see what's left of the Fusion.
Gamers of the court, Benvenue and off the cap, there is royalty in our midst. That's right, a Midseason Madness legendary skin Royal Knight Mercy is on sale now through August 19th for just 200 League tokens. So make sure you get yours today and play with a Royal Flush.
Yeah, I'm on my hands and knees for the new Mercy skin. But not as down bad as Fusion right now, who are on match point against the Hangzhou Spark, who just took Dorado if you are tuning in. But at least the Fusion have one advantage they can work with, and it's their choice of push map between Coliseum and New Queen Street. And they're opting for New Queen Street, which makes a lot of sense. They chose this against the Florida Mayhem in the losers round 2 in that long game 5 series, and they're very successful. Fusion are very successful on New Queen Street. 111 meters to 75, a big win against Florida Mayhem there. They also went on New Queen Street against the Dallas Fuel, another 3-digit meter, 122 to 42, and that's when they absolutely rolled the Fuel. Like, it was 122 meters right off the bat. And their kind of signature composition, their go-to stuff, is Ball, Tracer, Ashe, Zen, Ana. So we'll have to see if the Hangzhou Spark have studied the tape throughout this tournament, because Hangzhou Spark, we've seen them a lot more on Coliseum than New Queen Street.
Well, on the other side, we have a Hangzhou Spark, and here's a quick look once again at the Shy stats. It feels like the card that just keeps on giving. 21 final blows as Sojourn on Dorado. 16.4k damage. We didn't even go to extra rounds. Oh my goodness. Shy is a monster to be dealt with. But when it comes to monsters, Lemon, I'm thinking about MN3 on the Philadelphia Fusion. This is the place where MN3 stuck his flag in the ground of the Overwatch League and said, "This is my year." On New Queen Street, MN3 absolutely decimated at the end of the Midseason Madness qualifiers and put on one of the greatest individual performances I have ever seen in a pro game.
Well, it also helps when Shy gets nanoed. I mean, we're even hearing some talks on Twitter of just, oh my god, like, just nanoing a Sojourn who already does a ton of damage, has a one-shot potential, but it's the damage mitigation, the fact that Shy can stay alive when he jumps into danger. He's not jumping away, he's going in there. And you just depend on Shy to just get 3 or 4, 5k these fights. It's insane. The clutch potential that Shy has, even in that last fight, he was in the attacker's backline by himself. The guy's nuts. So can Spark depend on him again? They're on a series point. A win here is top 4, and I think a minimum of 75k, so a lot of dollars. But Fusion, fans, don't give up hope now. It's all about Fusion just making you go through an emotional roller coaster, and they can do it here on their choice of map.
Yes, Fusion, they teeter on the edge of oblivion. For Hangzhou Spark, the siren song of glory and victory is ringing loud in their ears. All they need do is take that final step and claim it. Here, the major difference is going to be in the tanks. Belos3 is keeping the pace up on the Wrecking Ball. Meanwhile, for Bernard, it's all about the slow and steady energy that wins the race. With this Zarya being a little bit more brawly, maybe giving over additional resources to Shy so he can play a little bit more brazen on this Ashe.
Yeah, the Zarya is going to do well at scaling through long fights. They have the resources, both the Ana and the Brig, to help out. And it wouldn't even hurt to just, I know Shy gets a lot of love, but nanoing the Zarya just to have the frontline potential, because where Zarya is weak is taking too much pressure. She only has 2 bubbles, and she has other people to care about. Somehow Bernard has already stopped MN3 from being in the tunnel. So really, I'm surprised Bernard's even just in this tunnel. That's usually where you want to see Shy or MN3, and I think now that Shy has that clear way, he actually gets pushed off from being on top of the tunnel. With Bernard all that space for nothing. Alfie also gets chased down by Belos3. MN3 has burned 2 people alive from just existing on the low ground. So with that alone, that gets Fusion in some initial push.
Okay, MN3, that's not very nice. I think that there was a big problem there for Bernard in being able to actually generate his energy. We saw AimGod actually give up a 5-orb play just because it would have given Bernard a lot of charge, and playing slowly here is in the interest of Vizaya to get so many of these bubble rotations, but they're just not being fed by Philadelphia Fusion, because Philly know that if Belos3 is absent and Bernard has charge, things are going to go poorly. Huge slap.
Bernard actually got shoved into enemy fire and he gets finished off. So Fusion still can continue this push. This was against the Dallas Fuel where Fusion just had this initial 100-meter push. And look, it's just the passive plays, but also reacting to these small opportunities that the Fusion have. And when you shove Bernard, you can capitalize on the front line. Fusion now have a ton of space, so they got the capture point. They do see the Spark on the high ground. Belos3 does want to get up there, and MN3 has taken a flank. He's thrown the dynamite up in Spark's little hideout. Alpha E has been nanoed somehow by Irony. Throws the pulse, doesn't connect somewhere off screen. As now Fusion from on the car and behind the enemy team have now thrown the bomb to help stabilize a bit on the front. But Fusion got maybe a bit too creative on that front.
Maybe a touch of performance anxiety there from MN3. I don't think any shots were really hit with that, but Shy is hitting plenty. One to the back, a Fixer's head. For Snow is pink with brain matter now. And Shy grabs themselves a quick triple. Yes, you got yourself a quick butt-scratching cap, but we'll be taking this now, thank you very much. On the other side, Bernard finally has a Graviton Surge available. And remember, there's not really much to counter this from a Philadelphia Fusion. They don't have any consistent shielding. All they can really do is try and nade themselves in hopes that there might be enough healing. But AimGod is so shy of that Transcendence that Bernard can essentially get a free kill onto AimGod and Fixer if they play close enough. Spacing is everything here.
Oh, well, that's some space. You got the mines to trap whoever was on the top of the tunnel there from Spark. Oh, there's Shy. The rally starts from Super Rich. But you lost your carry there. Shy and Alpha E dead. You throw the ground just to stop Belos3, but does Spark even have enough damage? They just straight up don't. I don't think Bernard even has a lot of energy. No, just sitting at 30. So the solo grab on the Belos3 does absolutely nothing. A sleep from Irony to lock down Belos3 is kind of nice, but again, the lack of damage not working out, especially when you aren't utilizing a Zenyatta to get the Discord orbs out, but Spark are getting some good push going.
I think the Fusion may have got a touch too aggressive there. Maybe AimGod could have hid around in the back. Admittedly, it's a risk, though. Could have been staggered. Alas, going in with not really much behind them. Now Hangzhou Spark are in a pretty good position to try and take this next fight with Shy so close to that overclock. If anyone feeds him over ult charge, this is going to be available before you know it and will be for this most important of fights.
Yeah, this is for the lead. To Spark to win this fight. Shy has been nano with a sleep! Fixa stops it, and the orbs from AimGod to clean things up and even kills Bernard with a headshot. Spark were depending a little, maybe too much on the Shy, but I mean, who expects an Ana to hit a sleep mid-jump like that? That is insane.
He's not just your healer, he is your playmaker. Fixer, the stand-in on the flex support, usually playing on the... It was a shit body block! Oh no! Get down, Mr. Bernard! Oh, bloody hell, that's tragic, mate. That is absolutely tragic, but for Philly fans, that is a big old smile.
The Fixa upper, but he's about to get pulsed. Oh, dodge! He does in fact dodge. He's a little bit low though. It's okay. Fusion takes shelter in the pack room. But Fusion got real creative last time off of these left side flanks. And it was usually MN3 who went there, and Fixa could even do that if he wants to throw a nasty ante. The bob from MN3 thrown right on the bot, I believe. But either way, that is doing work, but you can't discount what Shy does. Trades it up with a double kill. Spark have the respawn advantage, so that's huge for Shy to just impact this fight and stop Fusion from getting any further. But the lead is still heavily in Fusion's favor with 73 meters, and Spark get the cleanup nonetheless.
No sleeps this time, mate. And Belos3 staying alive also means that in a pinch you'll be able to contest the cart, because you can kind of weave in and out quite effectively as a wrecking ball and just keep trolling Timmy to stop him from moving. Bernard critically needs to build up a good amount of energy for this next fight, because the mortars heading towards high ground are what are going to zone away AimGod and Fixer from being able to rain down free damage.
Belos3 has mines, and we learned this the hard way. Bernard.
They lost Nano. I think it got lost in transit.
Not sure how that happened, but Spark are just putting so much prioritization of putting Shy and friends on the top of the tunnel because it accesses that pack room where AimGod and Fixa like to sit at, but Bellatrix just is not letting that space go for free, and with those 2 picks, Fusion are back on the card, increasing this lead to 80+, and this is the red zone. Spark need to win a fight, but do it as economically as possible because they need to match that same 84 meters. The rally starts from Super Rich. Shy is on the high ground, not connecting much with these charged shots, but at least is getting back up to 100 thanks to Bellatrix. And the card is not going further. Fusion don't need it to. The pulse from Alpha Yi draws out the AimGod Transcendence. So if you're Spark, you take the wins where you can, as the Fusion slowly but surely run out of ults and don't feel like pushing any further.
Where did that grab go? Where did Bernard's grab go? That was supposed to be a big fight winner. That should have been a free kill onto AimGod and Fixa. They forced out the Transcendence using the sticky. I mean, it was going to be all Bernard all the time, but I've got no idea where that little cosmological construct went. No stick, no kill. But Zest still is going to be this annoying little pest in the backline. And Bernard's got no armor as a Xayah. He could be torn apart by that Tracer.
Fusion don't even want to push further than this. They want to keep the Spark trapped, and they're doing a great job. MN3 has thrown the bomb on top of his own body. He's 1 HP, and he's getting well defended, but Bernard got nanoed, and he's walking into the backline. He's cleared of MN3. He goes after Fixa. And Fusion, well, they can't keep this trap going forever, as Bernard really rethinks the Zarya approach. Alpha Yi's on the Tracer, and Bernard, he swaps to something else, the Doomfist.
Well, the Doomfist at least has a better pace, because that's the thing that's happened to the Hangzhou Spark. They have not been fast enough to respond to Philadelphia Fusion, giving different stimuli from different angles, and Alpha Yi swaps as well. Over to the Genji. This provides a lot of brawling power in the front line alongside that Doomfist, and this may be troublesome for AimGod when you don't have a consistent tank in the front line to protect you.
Yeah, these grabs haven't been much, and the close-range quarters, Bernard hopefully can shine, but at least we can know we can depend on Shy. It's a double kill and a third, and the supports of Fusion head away, but Bernard's on the chase. Any stagger kills is big for Spark, but they still have to bring the bot back to neutral point without affording to lose anyone. And Spark have done that. They still have to win 1 more fight and probably 2 or 3 to even match what the Fusion have.
A new dynamic for these battles now with the upgraded pace of the Hangzhou Spark. Philadelphia Fusion are going to have to adapt here on the fly, and Bellatrix needs to realize that while he has downtime on these engagements, Bernard and Alpha Yi are fast enough to get in onto his backline. Fixa stands ready with a nano boost. Do you give it on to MN3 again? The avatar of death on New Queen Street. He's actually Yellow West. No way!
The anti was disgusting from Fixa, and just an unlucky jump down by Shy. Quick capitalization by Fusion. They have to use the Transcendence, though, because they lost MN3 and they started the struggle. The Nano on the Bellatrix, not a prime target, especially while asleep. And the rest of the Spark cleaned up all the bodies around Bellatrix. And he was last on the hit list, but they didn't even manage to do that. But Spark had to use quite a bit to get that done. Still got some left over for a fight to take the lead.
Miscomms and panic here. Bellatrix tried to move into contest, but it's just going to have to give away this checkpoint now. Still, there's so far to go for Hangzhou Spark, and only 15 seconds in which to try and do it. Overtime, yes, will be in their future, and 1 fight win for Philadelphia Fusion can do it all, but they've spent most of their resources, and they've lost AimGod.
Bernard got subbed again! How does Fixa keep getting away with this? MN3 barely alive, but even through 1 HP, MN3 kills 2! Fusion may have just done it! They could have forced the game 5! Fixa's in trouble, Bernard's got the push, he couldn't get the mega in time! And on the cart, there's only the supports of Super Rich and Irony remaining! The Fusion, just on their strongest map! They done it again! They forced the game 5!
What else could it look like? When we ascend the steps of the pantheon of APAC, no one was going to back down, no one was going to whimper, no one was going to blink. 2 warriors with swords drawn, and whether it's the anime guns or the power of the sun in the palm of their hand, neither of these teams is willing to die.
Of course, Hangzhou Spark have to tweet the cat girl pic from Shy as an explanation of why Shy is just so good at the game, and I'll believe it with my eyes. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. Shy makes this happen. but Fusion pull out ahead on their strongest map, 80 meters and growing. I mean, they've defeated so many teams on this map alone, but we go to Control. It'll be Spark's choice, and we'll see you after the break. It's game 5 and last life for Hangzhou Spark or Philadelphia Fusion for their opportunity to go up against the Apex Slayers of Atlanta Reign in the next round. Fusion, I mean, they had the 80-meter push on New Queen Street and then gate-kept girl boss Spark until oblivion. What a map that was.
Only one team from APAC Lemon will be coming out alive of the next 20 minutes. They've been forced to fight each other, but that's just the way the bracket crumbles. Gouxue has returned once more, the main tank extraordinaire to lead the troops from the front. This crown must be earned, it will not be given. Let's bring up our map set in a little bit so that you guys can see where Hangzhou Spark have decided to bring us on our final control. with Guxue coming in, you could probably take an informed guess, but it's going to be Lijiang Tower. Because Guxue, he's got himself one heck of a Rhine, as well as a top-tier Winston.
Yeah, when it comes to Lijiang Tower, we saw Hangzhou play this against the Philadelphia Fusion. Hey, guess what? In their first match, their first meetup, and it was 2-1 for Hangzhou at that point. So Spark going back to what they know best. When it comes to Fusion, though, they're no strangers to love or Lijiang Tower. They defeated the Florida Mayhem just yesterday in their final Game 5 on Lijiang Tower, where that also went the distance. That was crazy. They had Uber shaken over that round. So I'm excited to see how this final battle is going to be decided.
I think it's going to be all about the order of the maps. I feel like with Belosria in, yes, there's going to be the main tank in the back pocket for Philadelphia Fusion. Do they want to try and mirror some kind of rush here? Do Hangzhou Spark want to try and attempt that as well? Thus far, Shai has been putting on a clinic on the hit scans. He almost has a deadlift over the entirety of the entire series here, Lemon. I believe he has 65 out of 138 total Spark final blows, which is 47% going into map number 5. That is almost uncanny, considering that he's sharing final blows with people like Guxue and Alpha Yi.
Wow. I mean, we really
Yes.
have... wow. We really have some of the best of the best. Like, at this point, there are no weak players on any teams anymore. It is Stardom versus Stardom. We're going to go to Lijiang Tower and see what round we end up on first. When it comes to at least the Fusion, again, a lot of Ball, Tracer with Zest, some Ashe, and Sojourn for MN3, and then they kind of hover around the Zen Brig or the Zen BAP, especially the BAP when you have more of a poke phase on Control Center. Speaking of Control Center, here we are. I got to guess it just off the scenery.
Oh yes, map expert Lemon reporting in. Do
Heck
we see
yeah.
the Reinhardt is the question. Do Hangzhou Spark wish to engage in a touch of brawling? No, instead, bringing in Guxue and having him play Doomfist would be an interesting angle, considering that they just had Burnos up over onto that hero, and Burnos been playing a considerable amount of Doomfist. Philadelphia Fusion, I'd be surprised to see Belosria stick to this Wrecking Ball, as Wrecking Ball does suffer from the lack of high ceilings in the server room, which means that engaging into one of the most potent areas for a support to hang out means you have very limited options to try and make your pile driver work. But hey, if anyone can make it work, Belosria can.
Well, Fusion tried the rush last time they faced the Spark on this, and let's just say it didn't work out. It was 199 though. But what did work for the Spark is this very comp. They did have Alpha Yi, on the Genji, Lucio, Ana, and everything. So quick rotations for the Spark. And there's an engage from Guxue on the coast side, the right, and has already punched out. Aim gone cold, and MN3 booped off. So Spark around this Lucio Ana are just coalescing together, and it's working out.
Aimgod got booped off as well, playing on the edge. They did not expect Guxue to be on the Doomfist. They probably thought the same as me, that he was going to be on the Rhine. That's why they went up and around the outside. But here's the engagement from Guxue. The pace there, unbelievable. And guess what? Guxue fell off as well. Okay, 3 environmental kills in our starting battle. How else could it end here in our APAC Battle Royale? Shai already so low as Hangzhou Spark have got themselves the first cap. Do they dare contest here?
Yeah, it's kind of a big reason why you don't hold that coast side. You're so vulnerable to boops, and Belosria got slugged and anti. Good job by Irony once again. I felt like Belosria just lived a little too long on New Queen Street, so I'm glad he could get to know what dying is like a bit. But Alpha Yi has already killed 2, and he wants to dash fix this so bad without, running into the shield bash and all that. He is going to harass Zest some more, get a bunch of blinks out of him, and now dance around, because remember, it's Spark that have control of the points, so they can play this ring around the rosy, this cat and mouse forever, and benefit from it. And now, because of the Lucio Super Ridge, reinforcements are back from the Spark, so they're almost at full force.
And Alfie also heavily outpacing these defensive ultimates when it comes to the blade. He's been hitting so many shurikens that if he uses it in a good amount of pace, then it could easily confound the Philadelphia Fusion. Losing Gushui means that space is going to be hard to come by, and Alfie gets nanoed here for a big old... He's dead. He's dead.
Wow, he just got one clipped and dove on by Belosaria. That was disgusting. The guy was like ready to whip out his blade and everything, and he just got sat on. So Spark don't have any DPS. So it's a go next, and Belosaria is just killing everything. Okay, he has mines. I wonder, I don't know if you want to hold choke, but we'll see how the mines will be used.
Was that a Belosaria ace on the bowl? Not only was that potentially a Belosaria ace, but that also stopped the Nano Blade. And now the window for the Blade's effectiveness is closing for Alpha Yi. Aim God's getting closer and closer to that trans, and Fixer is also going to have the rally, which will give enough space during the knockback to get the additional health.
Oh, the sleep on the Zez, somehow he's alive though, but the blade from Alpha Yi comes out. He's got the sound beer of Super Rich to supplement him, but he had such a hard time closing the gap with him in the fusion. At least he doesn't extend too much. He conserves his life, but the blade got a total of 0 kills. So Sparkle has Super Rich. Advantage is starting to go away. Gushui got so eager because he thought he had the meteor strike, but he was still 3% away. And the punish from Fusion is so nasty. The disengage against Alpha Yi, so smart. The Fusion are now back on the point, and they can chill for now.
In the end, it was more Dragon Bait than Dragon Blade trying to get Zest to chase them in. Alpha Yi so low. Gushui finally has this Meteor Strike, and it can't be forced out early by a Pulse Bomb from Zest, so instead you can use it to make a much more aggressive dive and then try and finish off one of those low supports, potentially even force out a Transcendence from Aim God in a suboptimal position.
Just Hangzhou Spark just want the server control so bad so they can access this backline. Cool text from Gushui. You scared the heck out of Aim God. He just used Transcendence. Now Fusion really want to take a fight, and they MN3 got isolated. So Spark forced the Transcendence and then jump immediately on MN3. It's a 5-on-4. And Fusion, they have control of the point, so they can probably just die on it, get to 99 and head on out unless MN3 gets back soon. Pile drive from Belosaria. Spark dodged the pulse bomb from Zest, and now Spark don't really have any ultimates, and they got to get away from these mines. It's 99% from the Fusion. Fusion never even reset through losing Aim God, through losing MN3, and now that he's back, he can shoot away, and the Spark ain't looking too good without Gushui, without Shy. What could possibly pull out a win here? You got to use the rally. Super Rich used it immediately on acquiring it. Gushui will be back soon on the Hammond. And Fusion are just wasting so much time. You can get a pick on the Fusion, and they'll just never give up. But at least they kill Super Rich and Irony. Zest makes the miracle happen, and Fusion take round 1.
And Zest did that against Overhealth as well. Against the rally, Zest got the 2 versus 1 against the supports. Unbelievable for the Philadelphia Fusion. And think about this, they were coming from behind. They got knocked off instantly. 2 environmental kills in the first fight. Control Lemon. It was all about getting that first fight, getting control and playing from a defensive position, but Philadelphia Fusion, the grit they showed. Here's Alpha Yi being denied for Nano Blade. That would have been everything because Aim God and Fixer were nowhere near in a position to try and deal with that. This is Belosaria's piece de resistance. This is his magnum opus of competitive Overwatch, and it's a round of Control Center.
Disgusting. I mean, the last time Spark and Fusion went to Control Center, it was Spark that won it. Fusion had to change their strat, and Belosaria, this speed is just so much to handle. And he gets out too, so you can't even kill him half the time. So now Spark, we go over to Gardens. And Fusion won this 194, and of course that was when MN3 even brought the Sombra out. A little bit too much creativity sometimes. But now he's on the Ash. Point unlocked. Belosaria wants to prevent it, gets involved, tries to stop the cap, but no one else is there. No contest from Zest because he's dead. He got booped to death by Super Rich. So Spark gets the first cap, and now they have the supports of Aim God and Fixer trapped! What synergy from the Spark in the moments that matter the most?
Faster, stronger, harder, better. That's what Hangzhou Spark have demanded going into round number 2 of potentially their final map of the tournament, raising the tempo. pushing on the gas. Philadelphia Fusion got absolutely struck out there. Even with Zest managing to get as much damage as he did, was the first one to die. And now Hangzhou Spark, as Philadelphia Fusion make their way towards the point, they can choose where the battle happens with Guxui's initial dive.
Hangzhou doing some scouting. So is Zest. Knowing that most everyone on the Spark are near the point, and Belstream was trying to separate them and got close to just getting the supports of Spark low. Shy has a pulse bomb too. Zest too, and a stick on Irony, he's gone! 5-4 for the Fusion as Belastria continues to be utter chaos on the point. As Spark can't even take shelter on the objective they own. Belastria is separating them, and the Fusion capitalize. Even Fixa with the 2K, Zest with the other. And it's the flip back over to Fusion with 67 to Spark.
An unbelievably large fight there from Zest. A couple of blinks to find Irony and deny that nano. Now it is going to be available. Would you put it onto Alpha Yi again? Would you risk the conflux of Belostria and Zest bullying him out with that Discord orb? Once again, Zest is just being such a pain in the bottom, and it's a turnaround from Hangzhou Spark trying to ambush him on the disengage.
Oh yeah, I thought Guxui was gonna get the nano, but it's the Alpha Yi. We'll see if the second time's a charm. He's close to nano, and they drew out the Transcendence, so this Alpha Yi blade could be big, but maybe he wants to wait out the Fixa rally, especially now that it's accumulated to this point. The Mindsels from Belastria flash out Spark from Dojo, but it doesn't really matter because they own the entirety of the rest of the map. So the Fusion are wiped away, and we get a flip back over to the Spark, 43 for Fusion.
This does, however, mean that Super Rich has used that sound barrier much more aggressively than maybe they anticipated, and that means there's nothing to stop MN3 from tearing through all of these more squishy members when that overclock's available, and we've already seen what Zest can achieve with these pulse bombs. His stick rate this series has been impressive, and Irony's been feeling the brunt of it, but Alpha Yi with the blade in the sheath, dare he drag it out and call upon the Dragon to once more bring Hangzhou Spark to a stage number 3 on control.
Oh, the pulse!
Again!
Mid-jump! Zest does it again! His attach rate is crazy! As Fusion start off on a good foot this fight, Belastria hopes to separate the Spark, but it's Yi who brings out the blade, slices through the supports, and the Spark at 99% have won the fight in round 2. They'll force the third one.
2-2, Lemon. 1-1. Neither team wants to die at this juncture. Both want to be the representative of the East, the champion of APAC, the one who would wear the crown going into our third portion of the season. So many teams are arrayed before them. It is a harsh path, and it's one that will tear them limb from limb. But both of these warriors, they are bloodied. They are ready to take their first step upon it. However, it all starts with a single step here on Night Market of Lijiang Tower.
And Night Market was the last round that the Spark and Fusion faced off to define that first map, and the first time they met. Will the script be rewritten as Spark took that map the last time and took Night Market as well behind Guxui's dive? And it was Shy actually on the Sojourn last time, switching things up, going for the GT Genji Tracer dive to see if they can work together for the final time in their last life this tournament. Fusion on the point, working on the cap first. Alpha Yi juking things out, jumps over the wall, sees the supports, gets some good right clicks in as the Shy is behind, and surely they can finish off Ape God. They do, but they lose Irony in the process because the flank of the Fusion was on the Spark's tail equally. Spark don't have any supports, neither do Fusion. All damage is permanent, and there's 3-on-2 for Fusion, and they already have the point, so Spark are the ones that have to reset.
We call those backline races, Lemon, where you just race to try and kill the opponent's supports, and well, Philadelphia Fusion said ka-chow, baby. Philadelphia Fusion now have Zest with another pulse bomb, and well, we know what that means for Irony. Luckily, this time it's survival, as Irony clings to life with his little grippers, and now Philadelphia Fusion are going to have to retreat back to a point and wait for Hangzhou Spark to come to them, potentially.
Oh, MN3's already dead. Shy can throw a pulse, sees a bunch of supports. I mean, it's just a blur at this point. That's all Fix is seeing too, is dark. as Hangzhou Spark hope to just flip this point back over. There's still the DPS and Veloceria hanging around, but they don't have much to say after that. So Spark get to farm them up a little bit and flip it over, 58 for Fusion.
And critically, Hangzhou Spark are now going to be in a defensive position once more, almost with access to that Nano Blade. They've enjoyed giving a Nano over to Alpha Yi when he doesn't have a blade in hand to see if they can force any defensive countermeasures out of Philadelphia Fusion. The problem with that currently is that Philadelphia Fusion don't have the defensive countermeasures. If Hangzhou Spark get too aggressive here though, Veloceria can roll in behind them, put the minefield on the point and try and exploit Hangzhou Spark's disengage.
See, Veloceria wants Spark to play on the point to drop these mines. He's already found Super Rich, he's found Irony, but Super Rich boops him, and now Spark head for the middle of the map. They've already nanoed Gushue. Veloceria focuses on the flip, and it's not even successful at doing that. But Shy, I guess, accidentally runs into the mines as he returns to the point to contest. Now Alpha Yi on the hunt, slices through Zest. Veloceria is pretty low, but Alpha Yi's not feeling it. Would rather stay safe on the objective, and Spark hold on for now.
Aim God. He needs an Iron Will when it comes to this Transcendence. If he uses it too early, if Gushue can force it out with a Primal Rage, then Alpha Yi will have himself a clear landing strip to bring Hangzhou Spark to the next match later today against the Atlanta Reign. Veloceria plays Distraction, but this simply means that Alpha Yi has a clear path to victory.
Who will be the last remaining team in APAC? Spark have the ults. The Sound Bearer starts, but they couldn't get Shy involved, so Aim God and friends behind the Transcendence have the 5-on-4. They rotate back to point. The rally starts from Fixa. Fusion trying to revitalize a bit as the flank from Zest has been unsuccessful. The bomb from MN3 is thrown in the market side, so near the middle of the map. And now people are getting pooped off the map left and right. Fusion working to hold on to this objective to get the lead back. And Alpha Yi gets his fight shut down. Are you serious? But Irony is gone, and so are the hopes of the Spark this fight. As with the fight win here, Fusion will take back a lead.
It was messy, but with a blade from behind, simply could not find the purchase. It was not sharp enough, nor with a Hangzhou Spark as a holistic group. Look at this. Irony, once more, the only ult available for Nano. If he gets stuck here, it is over. Philadelphia Fusion will go and face Atlanta Reign later on, Lemon. This is the last battle.
The Nano available from Irony. Shy heading for mini pack. And it's the battle in the middle of the map. Gushue received the Nano from Irony, making the space, working with Alpha Yi. They head into the support line. MN3 is separated from the flock. Couldn't get any healing from Aim God in time. Spark had the numbers, but Veloceria has the space. The mines! The double kill! Alpha Yi and Gushue removed. Irony gone. Fusion at 99% off of a tank who's grown from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The Fusion have done it further than any other APAC team in Game 5. They are top 4.
Dallas Fuel, they could not stop them. The Hangzhou Spark, they could not stop them. COVID-19, it could not stop them. The power of the sun in the palm of their hand. Philadelphia Fusion are going to face the Atlanta Reign later on today. The lower bracket, the crown of APAC belongs to them, but there is yet more to be earned here at Mid-Season Madness, Lemon.
Only Fusion can make the fans cry and get frustrated the way they do, but only Fusion makes my voice go like that. I'm gonna feel that in the morning. What a heckin' series. This tournament has presented some of the best, most exciting Overwatch we have seen this year, and the Fusion will get top 4 minimum of $75,000, go up against the Atlanta Reign, the Western team that has slain the Seoul Dynasty, and the Shanghai, and we're gonna find out if they can do it again. But before we head that way, of course, we're gonna have the winner's bracket, because the Shock and the Gladiators is gonna be crazy enough. If you guys thought this match was entertaining, wait for the ultimate battle of top 1 and top 2 in the West. But we also have to crown our top player of the match, because there were so many stars in this match, but only one as citrusy as I am. Your player of the match is Zest from the Philadelphia Fusion.
His name may start with a Z, Lemon, but Zest was the X factor. When it came to attaching those pulse bombs, when it came to bullying Irony, there is simply nobody better. And what a case Zest is for the scouting for the rebuild that we saw happen for Philadelphia Fusion. A bunch of new players that they've been holding on to, having dibs on for years and years under T1, and finally the investment has come to fruition. Finally, Philadelphia Fusion have made good on the promises made, and Zest is at the forefront of that victory march.
Insane stats from Zest, just an incredible Tracer player, flexing to echo Genji even in just a singular match. This is a guy you can depend on, but I also want to give a special shout out to Belos Ria. I've even talked in the past how I felt like this was the weaker pillar of Fusion at the start of the regular season. I don't think too many people can argue with that, but the amount of work that Belos Ria has done to improve as a player, improve as a tank that can actually initiate and take the space. The double kill at the end for Night Market when MN3 was dead, Fusion turned around a 4v5 to win it all off of a Belos Ria play. So I gotta give, you know, a shout out to what he was able to do in that final fight, and just throughout as one of the most improved players, I think, in the league. So shout out to the Philadelphia Fusion fans. You can at least rejoice because they haven't let you down in the lower bracket yet. But on the other side of things, in the upper side, we have the ultimate battle of Gladiators and Shock, #1 and #2 in the West. That's going to be insane. Joss and Necker are going to get on the mic because, you know, we sound like dying cats at this point because we're done. We're done. So Gladiators and Shock are next. We'll see you guys later.